Hi folks, and welcome to TK Power Sports. Right over my shoulder back there, that's the brand new 2024 Sea-Doo RXP-X 325, and yes, that means it has 325 horsepower, and I'm gonna go for a ride and tell you all about it right now. Here on Lake Tahoe. I got my guy Tim here from Sea-Doo, and we got that amazing brand new RXP-X behind us. So Tim, what's new on RXP-X for 2024?
Yeah, so 2024, it's all about numbers, and it's increasing the horsepower number. So we've gone from 300 horsepower to now 325 horsepower.
Nice.
So we're the undisputed power champion of the industry, but that's not really important to us. That the number that's more important to us is idle to 60 in 3.4 seconds.
Great.
So it's pretty unbelievable. We're not doing that today. I mean, it's almost like we're in Baja, California right now, much less Lake Tahoe. But it's a completely redesigned engine. It's the same 1.6 liter, a 1630 cc engine, but that's the only thing that's the same. It's been completely redesigned. The supercharger's been redesigned. It's creating a lot more boost. The supercharger's, it's actually spinning almost 100,000 RPM now. Wow. It's almost double what the previous generation or the 300 horsepower supercharger's doing. And it's maintenance free. Wow. So it's really, the team at Rotax over in Austria just did a phenomenal job amping up the power. And how does that translate to the water? So as I mentioned, idle to 60 in 3.4 seconds. We were already the quickest watercraft to 60, and then now it's even quicker. So it's really phenomenal. The mid-range torque, when you go into a corner, it just does not slow down. It just pulls all the way through. And again, the 300 was already a white knuckle ride. This one's even, it'll make you giggle even more. I mean, my belly is hurting a little bit just because I was just giggling so much when I really rode it for the first time.
Yeah, awesome, man. Well, yeah, with these waves, I think I'll be catching some air out there today, too.
Yeah, I mean, in this chop, like one of the other new features on this machine that we introduced very exclusively last year on our Apex model, this year, the steering damper is standard on the RXP-X 325. And that really comes into play when you're in the chop going really fast. That's where that steering damper really comes into play, where it's not as jittery going through the high-speed chop.
Sure.
So that's another one of the standard features. Plus we have the carbon fiber hood and some carbon fiber mirrors, and they're not decals, like it's real carbon fiber.
It looks awesome.
So it really is an exclusive high-performance machine. And yeah, I can't wait for you to go try it out and tell us what you think.
Heck yeah, well, thanks again, Tim.
All right, have fun.
Alrighty, folks, and now here I am out on the water on this updated 2024 RXP-X. Now, the first thing I do have to mention is the water that I'm on. This is Lake Tahoe. Now, Lake Tahoe sits at 6,000 feet of elevation. So the whole deal with this machine, of course, is the 325 horsepower, but I can already tell you, I'm just not going to be able to really comment on it because it doesn't feel that powerful up here. In fact, it feels down on power compared to the RXP-X Apex that I rode last year in Florida, of course, because we were at sea level. So the power thing, a little tricky for me to talk about, but I mean, I don't doubt Sea-Doo's claim of 3.4 seconds from 0 to 60, which is absolutely ridiculous. And then let me also add, for all of you folks who do live at elevation, you also have nothing to worry about. This thing has tons of power, even up here. We are on some rough chop today, but it doesn't matter. This thing is an absolute monster when it comes to acceleration. Now what I appreciate maybe the most about the RXP-X is the ergo-lock cockpit. I was standing up while I was riding at first, and then I sat down and I locked my knees and my thighs into this seat, and it makes a massive difference for your body. You're just able to control your entire upper body better. And again, this is a high performance machine meant for high speeds, so that's what you want. You want to be nice and solid up top and not feel like you're fighting against the machine with your body. And ergo-lock allows you, as the name suggests, to really lock into this machine. And I really like the feeling of it. It feels much more like a cockpit, like you sit down low in this machine rather than up on it. Now the jump in horsepower is certainly the big deal on the RXP-X and the rxt-x for 2024, but this is also the fully loaded Sea-Doo model, so we're getting loads of features. We do get that fully digital display up there. I can control it using a D-pad over here on my right hand, so you get some great features. I do of course have variable trim, so I can grab my VTS button here and set the trim. And then there's modes. There's a couple different drive modes here. You get sport mode, and you get eco mode depending on how you're feeling, and then basically a normal mode, which is in the middle. And then there's also a cruise control setting, which will also act as a no wake setting, which is really nice if you're crossing big water. You can set the cruise control at whatever speed, and then you can just hold the throttle right to the pin. It's a much more comfortable hand position, so this allows you just to hold it and you can just go and go and go. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't now talk about the handling, because again, that's what this is about. It's a high performance machine. This machine uses the Deep V hull, one of the deepest that Sea-Doo makes, so it truly cuts into the water and you feel it in the corners. It doesn't feel like it's pushing wide through the corners. It doesn't feel like it's sort of skating on top of the water. It gets down in the water nice and deep and just absolutely sticks. My closest frame of reference, because I was just on it, is the Yamaha GP1800R, and I will say that the RXP-X maybe feels like it sticks a little harder than the GP1800R does. Not much, they're pretty similar in their feeling, but I do think the Sea-Doo probably handles a hair better, and now of course the Sea-Doo has a lot more power, which is nice as well, so that's just a bonus on this RXP-X. Also, of course, new colorations, a little bit of a styling change for 24. We do get the carbon fiber. That was added onto the Apex package last year. Now it's just been brought to the RXP-X in general. So you do get a really handsome, slick looking machine. Now for other features, we do have big storage here between my legs. That's deep. You do get that Sea-Doo branded phone pouch right here, which I can't quite open up. There it is. So you can stick your phone down in there. There's also a USB port right here. So you really are covered when it comes to bringing your stuff with you out on the water. I mentioned the ergo-lock seat. There's another thing which is cool for this model, which is that you can see here, this is just a single seater, but you can add a seat on there. So if you do want to bring people with you, you can. But then of course, when you're out here riding aggressively, trying to just go for it, it's a lot better to have this single seat. And as I mentioned, you can really lock yourself into it. Now we also get nice padding down there in the footwells too. And it's nice and soft, but it also gives you a little bit of grip on your feet, which is also necessary when you're riding, especially hard. Again, you can see us out here in Lake Tahoe. Here, check out another RXP-X. And we're just slicing through the waves. Now, it doesn't matter how deep your hull is, if you hit that wake straight on, you can still slap those waves pretty good. But what I noticed on this machine is exactly that. It doesn't feel like it hits quite as hard because I think the hull design helps to cut through, sort of slice through some of that wake. And then just the power, it's actually nice to have a lot of power when you're in rough water like this, so I can sort of counteract the forces of the water and the waves. I was also just on the Spark Tricks. That video's coming to the channel too. And on the Tricks, you really feel like the waves are pushing you around. You're kind of at the water's mercy, and you're sort of just adapting to the water. Whereas on this thing, because it's so big and heavy and wide and powerful, I feel like I can kind of bend the water to my will a little bit anyways, meaning I can just do more of what I want rather than having to read the water and then kind of ride the waves. So yeah, the big deal for 2024 is more power. And I think, again, Sea-Doo runs into this problem where they bring out an excellent hull like on this RXP-X, You don't want to go updating it all the time. If it already works really well, well then leave it be. And that's exactly what they did. They didn't do a major redesign here. None of their 2024 updates were really major, to be honest. It's a lot of little things, but it's adding those features that customers are asking for. And on high horsepower models, what do you think customers ask for? They always ask for more power. And now Sea-Doo has delivered the most powerful and quickest watercraft in the PWC industry with this RXP-X. And what can I say? This thing is an absolute monster. I will admit, I wish I could test it on smooth water at sea level, but hey, as soon as I can do that and try a 0 to 60 run, I'll do that as well. Well, folks, we're coming to the end of this one. Now, yes, it was a little unfortunate that we were at elevation today, so I couldn't really feel that 325, but let's be honest, this was already a ridiculous performance Sea-Doo, and for 2024, it's even more ridiculous, and having all that power, well, that's always a good thing. So yeah, that's it for this one. Now, please go below. Let me know what you think of this new RXP-X down in the comments. As always, while you're down there, don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, hit join to become a member, and then come right back here to TK Power Sports to see what we're testing next. See ya.